I'm ready to support Fred Matiangi.
Alafu mnapea mtu kwa nini word permit kuja kuwa site manager wa construction. Ama ni Kenya, tuko na Kenya sawa, hata na degree na kutoka university. Sasa wewe bwana umekuwa hapa 2013, kazi yako ni kumanage construction site. Wapi unafanya kazi?
And I know that President Uhuru Kenyatta has a lot of faith in Fred Matiangi. Yeye ni mtu ambaye anajua kuchapa kazi, tena ana uoga.
That after the COVID-19 pandemic, now the new pandemic we are dealing with is the pandemic of lies. Yeah. It's the pandemic of lies. You know, people stand up and they say things that they think make sense. You know, I've been looking at politicians, and fortunately I have the opportunity of having served in cabinet. I know how a budget is drawn, and I know how much money we have in our resources to draw a budget. When a political leader, a national leader tells people, I will put aside 150 billion for market women, I'll put aside 50 billion for boda boda, I'll put aside 100 billion for this. I know how much our budget is and the projected growth of our budget. That time you have not talked about the amount of money that you are taking to counties. You have not talked about transfers for the education sector and so on. Where are you going to get that money to provide that kind of service? You're just lying to those people because you are telling them things they want to hear. And because they won't ask you questions, you just get along with it. You know, when you keep saying there's deep state, who is that? And the people are using that phrase and complaining are members of the National Security Council. They hold public offices. They tell you they are powerful people. So who is that? You know, this facade and stories that are being coined and being bandied around, just so that people create excuses and they camouflage around things that don't exist to survive, or create excuses and pathways of lying and carrying the public along with them. I want to ask you as church ministers, I am your son, and as a public servant, we have a country to serve. Let us not be victims of some of these lies that you keep hearing around. But things that just don't make sense even to a fool. How would you tell people? Yeah. How will you stand up? I'm asking you. How, Bishop, how will you stand up in public and tell me, who is that? And then you don't even have the courage enough to take a decision and say, okay, because I don't agree with the Attorney General and all these people, me, I'm not going to be party to you. In the morning, you speak like government. In the afternoon, you speak like opposition. You see, the question, let's be honest. You see, the total annihilation of common sense and betrayal of common sense in the political practice in this country is shocking. When you tell people about there being who is that? What is that deep state? The Inspector General who seated here? We have passed a constitution that requires us, it's in black and white. You know, even me, if I have to give directions to the Inspector General, the law requires that I put it in writing. And since I became Minister for Interior, I told the nation the other day, I've written 2 such letters, one to Boynet and one to him, to provide policy guidance. And even before I send it, I asked the Attorney General, does it pass muster? The Attorney General says, under the law, you can't do this. So, stop here, let us proceed. Now, how can you turn around in a country of the amount of freedom that we have? Nairobi, for your record, Bishop, Nairobi houses the largest number of foreign correspondents and media houses on this continent. I've challenged people, if you don't think there's freedom in Nairobi, go and report from Addis. Yeah. With all this freedom we have, in a country where the president is insulted liberally by everybody, by opposition politicians, how will you tell me that there exists a covert, dark op element of government that is intended to do certain things? When did you last face and scrutinize and excoriate the Minister for Security? I am here to answer questions. Which is this dark side that exists? Where is it? Don't be drawn. I'm telling you, don't be drawn to some of this. You see, we are unfortunate that we have a brand of leaders. I told you earlier that the narrative we need to be discussing about the future of our country is how we handle corruption and how we create an integrity system of managing our country so that the resources God has given us can benefit our children and our children's children. Now, instead of having that conversation, the artists, the political artists who want to avoid that conversation, they come up with all manner of excuses. Oh, there are people who hate me called deep state, and you sit with them daily. So when do they become deep? When they are with you or when they are not with you? So, look, forget about this. We run an open, transparent, accountable government. Our president, my boss, is probably one of the most liberal and open-minded heads of state on this continent. We are a responsive government. Now, let me ask you a question. You cannot get a Kenyan who can manage your side. This is not right. Yeah. So, these things really annoy me. Let me tell you the truth. These things really annoy me. We cannot, this is what we must do to sort out our country. I'm telling you, General, he keep me about where is that fellow? Who was here? Where?
Yes, sir.
These are things I want you to look at. Watching Mchezo Bwana. Mimi, I don't like these kind of things.
Yes, sir.
Where, how many Kenyans can work at construction site?
I'm ready to support Fred Matiangi.
Tumepea muhindi kwa kwa kuja kumanage site. Excuse me. Sitaki kabisa hii.